Good morning, y'all. It's Julie, Gulf Coast Stitcher, here on February 5th, Tuesday, for an update. I feel like I've got a lot to cover, but I always feel that way and then end up rambling about other stuff. I have no notes. This is the second time I filmed this because my computer died in the middle of it. So yeah, we're going to wing it. This has been a crazy week. If you follow me on social media, you know that it was military ball. There's lots of great pictures on my Instagram from that. It was a fun and fantastic time to get all dressed up and spend the evening with our children who are seniors in high school and kind of honor. It's kind of their prom, a chance for them to get all dressed up and celebrate being in the ROTC unit for the past 4 years. And I did really good. I didn't cry at all. Even during the slideshow of the progressive baby to senior year pictures, I did really good with that. Excuse me. Gosh, the trouble when you film a video twice, if you're a Flosstuber, is you can't remember if you said things the last time or if you're saying them twice this time. Does anybody else have that go on? I wanted to talk, let's see, quickly about stitching. I don't have a ton of progress. I'm working on a gift stitch for Mother's Day, which I don't think would be seen on this channel, but I can't take that chance. And I've been crocheting. Thank you so much, Lori, Mischievous Stitches, for inspiring all of us with your crochet hook. Girl, you're on fire with that. I'm so happy to see your face. You haven't been absent from my social media and from seeing you there, so you could have knocked me over when you said it'd been like 7 months since you did a video or something. I couldn't believe that. I don't feel like you've been out of touch for that long, but I was sure glad to see you back. So thank you for that, and I hope that you'll show us more crocheting. I think you're crazy opening the door for people to buy your crochet baskets because that's going to quickly become a lot of work because I want one. I'm going to go ahead and put my name down for one. Let's see. So Flosstube, I caught up with Lori. I, of course, never miss Pam and Steph. They're part of my Monday morning. While I'm working in the shop, I have them going. Mondays are usually crazy since I don't ship on Sundays. Yeah, so speaking of shop, market is coming. I will have 2 helpers with me. We'll be there the entire weekend. I am loading things to the website, which is www.gulfcoaststitches.com. There's a toggle button for Nashville Market. You click on there, and as items are being released, or to us as retailers, as we're seeing the photos and the prices, because some people have been sending snapshots of like little pieces of the chart, but we don't know what the price is. I don't want to guess, right? So I kind of waited until they're making more official releases, and then I put them on the site. So if you pre-order, you will pay now, and I will pick them up for you in Nashville and ship it back to you. We're going to do our best to get things packaged and potentially shipped from Nashville. If not, definitely packaged and shipped the day we return. We should be back. I should be back to the shop no later than Tuesday following market. We're going to be there through Monday, and then Tuesday I'll get up and head to the post office. That's the plan. I know I already have a ton of pre-orders. It's really exciting. If there's something that you've seen released that you haven't seen yet on the website, shoot me an email. I'll make sure my email information is below. The one person that I've had the most questions and comments and requests from is Ronnie Rowe. So I wanted to show you my Ronnie Rowe. I have all the Ronnie Rows in my personal stash. I have some on the site. Ronnie is a photographer. He is an artist, and he's a stitcher second to that. So he has this beautiful eye for perspective and lighting, and then he converts that to cross-stitch charts. And for that, we're forever grateful. This is the one I'm working on, which is the music teacher's house. So if you're not familiar with Ronnie Rowe, there are several people who have done a ton more elaborate videos, and I'm going to just barely touch on this today. Basically, the further you are away, the way I perceive these charts, the more detail you see, which is an interesting perspective. The closer you get, the more pixelated it appears. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm going to show you a little piece of his chart, and I know he would he would be okay with this because you can't do anything with this. So this is how I stitch Ronnie Rowe, and I've shared this in a video before. I do 10 by 10 blocks. I stitch the 10 by 10 block. I highlight the whole block, and then I pick another block. And I could pick this one, this one, this one, however I want. Doesn't necessarily have to be linear. And if I can't commit to finishing a 10 by 10 square, I don't start it. Which you easily can, because very few of them are complete coverage. I mean, it's pixelation. That's the whole thing. But that way, I don't even... If I have to, like, cook dinner, or, you know, it's time for everybody to go to bed and I'm getting tired, I just don't start the next block. I just put it up. So I don't use disappearing ink. I don't use a gridding system. I haven't stitched on this in a long time. But I'll show you what I have. I used to stitch on this during live PD. It was my live PD piece. But then, you know, I started stitching 1,000 other things I can't live without. So, is this perspective right? Yes. So, no gridding. It's on Ada. I communicated with him. I didn't talk to him. I emailed him, and he wrote me a very lengthy, wonderful reply that said that he stitched all the black and white models. He stitched them on 18 count Ada with 2 strands of 6 count cotton floss, or 6 ply cotton floss, over 1. So that's what I did. He said people generally shy away from doing 2 over on anything, you know, higher than 16. But the whole idea with the perspective, the pixelation, is that he likes the puffy stitch with the 2 over 1 on 18, because you don't see the X. And with his artwork, you don't really want to see the X. I mean, maybe you do, but he didn't, and that's why he did it the way he did. So, Ronnie Rowe, another thing to let you know about him is he's kind of old school. He takes cash or check, so I can mail a check, which is what I've done in the past, and then he mails me the order. But to save us both shipping, I am going to just place an order to pick up at Market. So, if there's Ronnie Rowe's that you know that you want, you can feel free to email me. The email will be in the box below, and I will open an invoice for you, and I will send you PayPal if you want. I'm not going to list all his. These aren't new Market releases. They're just restocks. But restocking Ronnie Rowe's a little different because very few of them are carried at the distributors. He has some there, but he doesn't charge very much for his charts. And when you go through the distributor, that eats into that already. You know, it's an expensive business to be in the chart production, I'm sure. So here's a few that I have currently listed on the shop. Now, they're still pixelated, but these are some of his color works. So this is Midsummer Hostel. See how cool that is? Midsummer Gateway. Just going to go through these really quick. Midsummer Toolshed. Dutch Doorshed. Blue Doorshed. Does that not, I mean, hello. I can just see myself this being like a she shed and having some friends over to stitch in there. Yes. One of my favorites is the Midsummer Gateway. I love this. Again, it's that perspective. I don't know what degree he takes his photographs at. I'm going to ask him. I'm assuming about 45-degree angle. And then the light he gets off that's crazy. I think I showed that one. And this is one of my favorites. Walkway to Spring. How cute is that? Love it. So yeah. What else do I have for by Ronnie Rowe? Yep, that's another one of the same ones. So I'm out of the pen and ink series, the black and white ones, but fear not, in 3 short weeks I'll be at Market and they'll be back in stock. Yeah, so I will get those for you. If there's something you specifically want, and like I said, email me, I'll invoice you, and those will be shipped either from Nashville or the second I get home. So what else? That was my Ronnie Rowe. I've been, like I said, I haven't had a ton of time. I may have said it in this video or the last deleted one. I haven't had a ton of time to stitch because of just life and busyness and school and kids and military balls, but I have worked on the Franklin sampler. I haven't worked on this much this week at all. Every spare minute has been taken up with other stuff, but I love this. I'm bouncing around. People ask how I stitch. I stitch in hand 90% of the time. The Ronnie row I put on a Q-snap and do it two-handed just because I want those puffy two-stranded over 18 stitches to lay really nice. Something like this, historic, I like to stitch in hand. I think that's probably how a lot of people stitched. And there's no progress on this whatsoever, but I like to show it just so we can appreciate the Grandpa's sleeve from XG Design. And I love the smell of it. Love it. And I have 3 projects in one project bag because that's how I do it. That is how I do it for right now. So that's all I've been working on. Crocheting, doing some gift stitching, not much of anything like that. If you're in Floss Club, they went out. I can't wait to see people, see your reaction to some of the new companies that I'm including. And that's one thing I really hope to get out of Market is I hope to meet more fiber companies and make some more connections that way, because the reception to adding Color and Cotton and Ships Manor have been added to the Floss Club selection. You get a mix match grab bag of such, and I've just had such a great response to that. So I thank you, and I know that they do too. I guess I can go through some shop things. I'm full of ums today. Sorry about that. Like I said, when you do this more than once. I was going to say remind me. You can't remind me. That'd be cool if you could. At the end of this video, I'm going to discuss the Ted Bundy tapes. I'm not going to do it till the end because people might not be interested. Heck, people might not be interested in my shop stuff, but that's the point of the video that we're at. I have ordered, everybody has seen Jack's Tree Farm, the new Little House series that's, taking the stitching world by storm as per usual. These are not in any kind of order. Jeez. I went ahead and ordered from Diane directly some floss packs for that. So they're listed on the website as Jack's Tree Farm Floss Bundle. It's 14 skeins. 14? I think so. 14 skeins of classic colorworks, and it will be all you need to do all of them. So, provided that you're a conservative stitcher. If you're, you know what I mean. You know how it goes. She sent me the packs, said this should cover your needs in stitching the whole series. So, yay, I just love to pet them. I was surprised and delighted to see hickory sticks did not make the cut. And I hate to say that, but I'm about hickory sticked out. But I will show you, in my mind, the new hickory sticks is going to be black coffee. I love this. I don't know if you could see. It's super dark brown and black variegated. Love it. So the combination that I'm most excited about, pine needles, cherry cobbler, and black coffee. Oh, love that. So I have those ready to go. They are slightly discounted. So I know a lot of you, when you need a floss, you jump on, one of the bigger box stitchy retailers, and you get a little bit of a break that way. But I try to do that with my shop too, so that you guys have a choice that makes financial sense to you. Okay. I'm just going to go through these. They're not in any particular order or organized in any way whatsoever, really. Sorry about that. Not sorry. Things are crazy, right? I added this last week. It is an Artful Offerings. I am going to do this in a primitive, I'm going to do a primitive conversion of this because it's so cute. I don't love it in the colors it is, but I'm going to prim this up some, and I know I'm going to love it. Hands-on design. This is one of the kits. What do they call it? What does she call this? The Around the Holidays. So it's got the velveteen to do a drum or a pillow. You choose. Not enough to do both, but one or the other. And I absolutely love this one. I think this is my favorite along with Live Within Your Harvest, which I have in stock as well. How appropriate is this for many of you in the polar vortex? Ready, Set, Snow. I love how cute that is. I can't wait to see all of her ornaments this year. I don't want to show you the chart, but I can't show you this without showing you the chart. But I will say that there's a piece of wool or felt wool and a button in here for finishing. Just a little bit, all you need. This chart, I'm also going to prim up. This is called Charity by Rosewood Manor. I don't know all the details, so I'm going to honor the family and not give them all falsely, but I will say that I know that Karen Kluba's daughter in 2015 was involved in a near-fatal accident and is currently requires full-time care in a hospital setting, in a facility setting, and all proceeds from the sale of this design will be donated to virginiamoneygiving.com. This design is the second in a series for this cause. Money goes to the hospital where our daughter, Rachel Gibbs, is being cared for, and an art fund is set up in her name. She was in a horrific accident, and we miss her terribly and hope to honor her with these patterns. Thank you. I'm going to prim this up. I love that it's bold colors, and that's very Rosewood Manor, but I see myself doing all these cornucopias in like maybe Wagon Wheel or something. I love it. It's a quote by John Wesley: do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can. So, Karen, it's beautiful sentiment, a perfect choice for the chart, and I can't wait to stitch it. So this is released just this past week ahead of Nashville, but I love it. So get your hands on that, and us stitchers, even if you just pick it up for the donation to help out the art fund, I think is great. RETM, while out of print, has hit some recent. I mean, it's just become so popular. I don't know how to say that. This is so cute. Look at that. Michelle, this is a nurse. I'm just saying. It's a turkey nurse. Hashtag turkey nurse. Love this. This is George and Florence. So now I have at the shop 4 sets of turkeys. And they're RETM. We know we can't get them anymore when they go away. New Blackbird design. How cute is this? This is Loose Feather Series for the Birds number 9. The Last Ripe Berries. That's super cute. You guys got some chunky guys. Bop, bop. Little House Needleworks. 4 Seasons. Ah, so cute. Love that. Glitter Village number 4. Recently reprinted Prairie Schooler Nutcrackers. I love this one in the middle. Ah, love it. And then I think I have just a lot of restocks. A lot of Prairie Schooler restocks. I have more Horse Country Holiday. Cinnamon Stars is back in stock. Village Green, which we all love. Sorry about the box noise, but this is literally hot off the press in the box still. Okay. So you've seen most of those things. I will show you this. I've showed before. Hillside Travelers. I absolutely love this. Oh. So that's restocked. Brand new from Artful Offerings is Bluebird Rhapsody. I think I want to prim this too. Totally, you totally could. I know that's what makes Artful Offerings kind of like, they're kind of pop artish, which I get. But ever since we all converted ever since Michelle Rudy, our leader, showed a primitive conversion to horse country holiday, that's all I see every time I see Artful Offerings. And I'm down with it. My favorite release of this past week, not to say I don't love all the charts, because you know I do, is Scattered Seed Sampling's Catherine Dickinson, 1840. Lisa Smith, I know you know that this has to happen. Resistance is futile, right? We all need to do this. Me and all my sampler girls, we at least need to throw this into the rotation. I'll even throw it behind Sally Spencer, which I'm not finished with yet, but it's got to go in the rotation. I love it. So that's like shop update. Gosh, this is a short video. All right. Settle in, grab a cup of coffee, turn me off if you're not interested in my opinion or commentary on the Ted Bundy tapes. I'll try to keep it brief, although it is a soapbox topic for me. I was in high school. I'm a Floridian who was in high school that day in January when Ted Bundy was executed in Florida in the electric chair. And I already knew I wanted to be a police officer at that point. I knew probably in 2nd or 3rd grade that that's what I wanted to do, which is, I don't know where that comes from. I guess it's like a genetic situation, because I didn't find out until I was in my 20s that my grandfather, who died well before I was born, was a corrections officer. And I never knew that. So I guess it was in my genes and I didn't even know it. But I knew I wanted to be a police officer, and I was so moved. The images of that day, I will never forget, because there was this dichotomy. The first time I ever really saw, this is the first time I really saw protest. I mean, I live in the panhandle of Florida. If you hang out near an abortion clinic, you may have seen some protest at one time, which I never was there, so I don't know. See it on the news every once in a while. But in front of the high school, there were 2 distinct sets of values being represented. There were people who were anti-death penalty, and they were very passionate about being against the death penalty. And then there was the other side, which was something that we've never seen locally, at least, since. But there was tailgating parties celebrating the execution of Theodore Robert Bundy. I don't even know where to begin about my thoughts or feelings about that, but I will say that I was a police officer for many years, and when a victim, in my experience, and this is very general speaking here, but in my experience, when victims' families, who in my opinion are also victims, when they feel a sense of relief when the death sentence gets handed down. But I think that their sense of relief in talking to many people comes from the fact that they feel that that person, that enemy of the state, that enemy of safety, that enemy of peace, will not be on the streets again. That's where the relief comes from. And then it takes 10 or more years of appeals and process to get a death date. And during that time, all that time, that family is healing. They're getting some time between them and the tragedy. I don't think that there's ever closure, but I think that they get a little bit of breathing room because the media forgets. The public kind of forgets. They can walk through town and not see their loved ones' images on magazines and newspapers, and life goes on for them. And then it all opens back up again. And I've only talked to two families in my law enforcement career whose families' attackers were executed. They both told me the same thing, that they were, thrilled with the sentence and felt like it was just and that it was right. But at the end of the day, 10 years later, it makes nobody feel better. And that's why I think it's so strange that there was this like cult following celebrations when Bundy was executed, because I think the people that celebrated it the most were the law enforcement officers and the people who built the cases and the prosecuting offices. I think they celebrated a little bit more than the directly impacted victims. But hey, it is what it is. The thing that I think is so interesting about the time that this case was in is that I can remember it being on TV every night in Florida. Every night that case was on TV. And every night we watched that case. And one thing and I was young. I was in high school. And I didn't know anything about mental illness. I still don't know everything about mental illness. I do know that watching the theatrics of that case unfold on TV, I was in high school and it was evident to me that this man has some serious problems. The things that the Ted Bundy tapes video or Netflix series doesn't show, which it couldn't show you. I mean, the trial went on for a while. It was on TV for a long time. Is he was a man clearly dealing with mania in some way, shape, or form. And they touch on it briefly in the documentary. But what you don't see, what we saw on TV, was moments of nausea and sweating and screaming and maniacally laughing. Like, that was it blows my mind in so many ways that he was able to not only represent himself but be treated as lead counsel in a capital case. It's just, do I think he was guilty? Yes. Do I think that he got the trial that he should have for the murders in Florida? No. But I don't think it matters at the end of the day. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say it doesn't matter, because it matters a whole lot to the families of his victims and to his own family. But we can look back on it all these years later and still have like really heated conversations about it, which I think is pretty interesting. Investigative journalism is what I love. I love a good investigative podcast. I love a good storytelling, but I'm also intelligent enough to be aware that the way they're edited and the way that they are produced give the opinions of the producers. I mean, that's what it is. He was found guilty. He paid the ultimate price, and 30 years later, we're still having that conversation about Theodore Robert Bundy. If you're interested in his case, his story, a more in-depth look at the victims in his case, which I find victimology fascinating, of what makes someone susceptible to victimization, what made them be the one that was picked. Most time it has nothing to do with them. It has to do with the assailant, but it's fascinating to me on how those all, like, how that stacks up. Everything from chance to, chance or whether it was calculated and strategic. It's very interesting to me. But there are much better documentaries and much better books on the subject than the Netflix series. It was good. I felt like it had some momentum. I felt like it was interesting. There was nothing that they could tell me about the case that I didn't already know, which probably why I feel a little lackluster about it. And I feel like it was more produced as a celebration to a congratulatory celebration to the prosecutors and the system for winning. And I mean, that's what it, in my opinion, that's what it is. So I binge watched the whole thing the night it came out. I did. When I say I love true crime, like, it's not that I love that those things happen to somebody, because that would be horrible. But I'm fascinated by the psychology involved, and I'm fascinated by the patterns that show up. Having been a law enforcement officer, I can tell you that those patterns are very, very real. When you start dealing with specialists who study victimology and they study what makes people do the things they do, you get some fantastic insight into the human psyche, which I think is great. If you love that kind of thing, I've talked about the I'll Be Alone or I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara, about the Golden State Killer. That one's fascinating. Now on Audible is a 6-hour kind of like a mini book, written and narrated by the investigator Paul Holes that worked on that case. I love Paul Holes. I think he's tenacious and never gave up, and if it weren't for him, there would be a lot of victims that wouldn't have closure. There I go. It's not closure. They wouldn't end that chapter in their story without him. Yeah, so that's my rant about however many minutes that was on that. I'll say that I don't know that half of the evidence in the Bundy trials would be admissible today. We've just come a long way technologically. We've come a long way technologically, and we've come a long way to realize the negative impact of a case of the court of public opinion has. I think we learned some lessons during the OJ trial with that. And I think that the Bundy trial was the big predecessor to that case even. So it's really interesting. I could talk about it forever. I won't. This is going to be some conversations that will be had at StitchCon. Kyle, get the wine. We're going to be talking about this. So yeah, I watched it. Thanks everybody for giving me the heads up. I already knew it was coming out and I was on it. I read what I think is the best book on the Ted Bundy series of crimes is The Stranger Beside Me by Ann Rule. Really interesting book because she worked with him. Are you ready for this? Ted Bundy was super successful and very much appreciated working at a suicide prevention hotline, and is credited with talking more people off the suicide ledge than anyone else in that office at that time. So there's that like weird, like I said, like dichotomy that I find interesting. For as many people as he hurt, we don't even know how many he hurt, but he saved some lives too. So that's a whole nother side that's kind of exposed in that book a little bit. And she was friends with him for years. The author, Ann Rule, greatest crime author of all time. She's passed away now. She was friends with him for years. She communicated with him all the way up until just shy of the execution. She, the whole time, had to battle with, this is my friend, my dear friend who I worked with for all these years. I can't believe that he's guilty, but then when I see the evidence, I can't believe that he's not. So it's really interesting. It's an interesting take. So if you enjoyed the case at all, if the Netflix original series was the first, if it was the first time that you've heard of this case, there's so much more information out there about it. So I recommend The Stranger Beside Me by Ann Rule. Yeah, so that's it. I hope you guys have a great stitchy week. Thanks for listening to me rant, and I will talk to y'all soon.